Hello friends and welcome to my channel. I am Noelle and today we are making a very cute 18th century jacket. I am so excited about this. My friend Lynn McMasters made this amazing hat. Look at her, isn't she so cute? And like Lynn made these little acorns like with her own hands. They are so cute. I love everything about this. This is the like decoration. Anyway, so I saw this guy and I was like, I want to be the person to wear this. She even like hand dyed this edging and like stitched this edging on here. Like, she's amazing. She used this fabric on the underside. So I was like, what if I got some of this fabric and then made a jacket and a bunch of skirts? And Lynn said, that sounds like a great idea. So I cut out this jacket. That was 10 months ago. I cut out this jacket in anticipation of bringing it on my trip with Gigi to go across the country that I did last July, the beginning of July. I've slowly been working on chunks of this jacket since then, but every time I do, something like comes up and it's like prioritized, you know, I wanted to make this jacket, but then I gotta make like an entire wardrobe for a cruise that I'm not gonna wear. I have a ball to go to. There was like a couple months of just like me not sewing very much in the middle there while I grieved my baby kitty. And then like just everything has conspired to make this the longest sew job that I've ever had in my entire life. Like, I've never sat on a, like, literally been working on this project for 10 months. It is the simplest jacket. It takes like a week to make. There's like no problem. It takes a week at like my speed and I'm slow. I also figured out at some point that like this intro that I'm filming now is after the fact because the one that I filmed before is just missing. Fun times. So I start out the video apparently by saying like, I'm just gonna go cut that out and then I'll bring it with me and see what happens. I love when I say things like, I'm just gonna go cut that out. No, I'm not. I'm gonna have to find some linen, which I did, and I needed 1.5 yards, and I found it in exactly 1.5 yards piece of like fairly robust linen, which is great. And I needed to wash this and dry it. So I have done that, and it's just ready for a press, and then I will cut out and create the lining. So when I bought this fabric, it said I would need 2¼ yards, and I bought 2¼ yards, and as you can see, the bodice fits almost exactly. The very little waist, but the sleeves aren't on it. So, and I don't know if there's a way to Tetris this in some other way to make it so that the sleeves can fit into this situation. I think what I'm gonna do is cut out the bodice as is and bring this with me, because I don't even know if I'll get to this project, right? Like, the pirate shirt seems like a lot already. And then I'll just order another yard and have that shipped while I'm gone, and it'll be here by the time I get back, so I can cut out the sleeves and pop them on. That seems like the smartest way to go here. So that's what's gonna happen. Alright, so we have the outside of the jacket cut out, except obviously the sleeves. So I can take this with me if I want. I need to cut out the lining now and maybe sew that together. Okay, we have the lining cut out, so that's that whole job completed. I am going to assemble this guy by sewing it together on my machine because I can while I'm here, just to get the lining done and ready to be sewn on. You can definitely sew this by hand. It gives you instructions to do so. I'm gonna do it on my machine anyway. Hello. This is the scene where I come in and tell you that it is 3 months later. 3 months. 3. It is now November. Was that July that I did the July, August, September, October? Yeah, it's like 3.5 months later because it's like the middle of November. I have a house guest here, Brittany, Magic Maker. Anyway, she's not in this room right now, but we are about to watch some Lord of the Rings, and I was thinking like, oh, I could be doing some hand sewing while I do that because, you know, I've seen Lord of the Rings approximately 1,000 times. So I thought I would attack making this jacket now because I did not really want to be making this in November, let alone later, but looks like our photo shoot isn't for Lynn isn't going to be until the beginning of the year anyway, so it's probably fine. So anyway, I have this jacket to make, so I'm going to make this Williamsburg jacket now. So I'm going to go downstairs and I'm going to do some hand sewing, which, as you know, is not something I do on camera very often. I might do some part of this because this whole thing is going to be hand sewn from here on out. So I'm going to go downstairs and do some hand sewing, but I did want to let you know I'm back at it and it's only 3.5 months later. Woohoo! So just, you guys know this because you just saw this, but I don't know this. I realized I do have the lining all together. Everything's good. And now I have all the pieces for the jacket. I'm just going to go probably only do the center back today because that's essentially what I can do. This is all going to get sewn together, all these pieces, and I'll go handle that. Hello, future Noelle popping in to say that I recently had a conversation with my friend Casey. We were online having a little Zoom and she started telling me about the new classes that she's offering on her website, which I'm very excited about. So I thought I would hit record and record. I'm like, can I just record this and let like everybody know about it? And she's like, absolutely. Casey is a delight. Let me share her with you. Hey guys, so I was talking to my friend Casey and she was telling me all about her new classes that she's offering on her own very own website. Those classes include a new and featured tambour embroidery class. I know a lot of people do tambour embroidery or want to know about it. So she has a unbelievably affordable tambour embroidery class for you that you can watch forever. She also does a pain in the ass fabrics, which I'm gonna also need to take that class, and an embellishments class available on her website. So I thought I would share this with you. So I'm just hitting record on our little Zoom party so that you guys can listen to what she's gonna tell me about it.
Yeah, so tambour embroidery is a couture sewing technique that is often used in film and on Broadway, but it's also, you can use it for couture fashion. So whether we're costumers or people making like clothes to wear, it's a really cool technique to learn. It kind of speeds up the embellishment process. I'm currently offering my online course. It is a learn at your own pace course. It has a video and a written component. So depending on how you learn, it should be suitable either way. And it's only $20.
It's so affordable. It's so affordable. Like when I got there and I was like, this is $20, Casey. Casey.
Yeah. So you'll learn basically the chain stitch, and then everything will build up on the foundation of the chain stitch. You'll learn about applying beads. I even have some guided practices so that you can practice before you actually like start stitching out into your real project that you're going to hopefully apply this to. Hopefully it'll get you just feeling good about tambour embroidery before applying it to a project, spending a lot of money on beads and things. You don't have to do that. You can practice it a little first. I also do have class kits, which I just launched last week. So if you have no clue where to get all these things, you can grab them right in my shop next to the course. It's super, super accessible, and it comes with the hook, the handle, thread, beads, fabric, a hoop, a stand. It's pretty awesome. And it's everything that I'm already using in the video. So when you see me do it in the video, you'll be like, oh, I recognize that hoop. So it's great. I'm super excited to make tambour embroidery a little bit more accessible to people. So I hope that this helps and that people want to try it. And if you do, tag me on Instagram. You can find my course and the course kit over on my website at caseyrenecosplay.com/course for the course and /shop for the shop. I'm also developing new projects that will be uploaded to the course throughout the year. So I'm making a design, and that means that when the design is done and finalized, I will have full instructions on how you can make the design at home. That's the main reason why I wanted to do this natively on my own website, is so that I can make adjustments to it throughout the year and add more. And then next year I can add even more, and like just kind of keep building on it so that it stays fresh and new for everyone that joins.
So are you saying that you pay for the course once and more stuff will just keep getting added?
Yeah, so you pay $20 once, and about once a quarter, I'll add some new stuff to it.
That's awesome. Do you like notify people when
Yes,
the
there
update?
is an email. So you get put on a special email list just for the course. And when I make updates, I can email everybody so that you have like right away, you know, oh wow, this project was added. And yeah, you'll get notified, and it's super easy peasy.
That's really awesome. It's like way better than like Skillshare where you have to like keep paying. Like if you I buy courses all the time and then I just put them on this list of courses that I've bought and occasionally I will go through and do them, but like it takes me like a while to get to them. So that's awesome that like I don't have to keep paying for it while that happens. So that's a really
And
great idea.
that's kind of a big reason why I went with my own website. I also definitely teach these in person. And I thought, well, if I'm teaching it in person and
Yeah,
people aren't catching on as fast, how do I support students outside of the classroom? So that was actually the main reason for developing this, was supporting students outside of the in-person 2 hours that we get together. Now they get to take all of this home and practice it. And then, well, from there, like, why not make it available to more people,
for sure. Yeah. Do you want to tell about the pain in the ass fabrics or the embellishments class?
Yeah, so Pain in the Ass Fabrics covers 7 fabrics right now. It covers velvet, chiffon, and I can't remember them all, but there's 7. And it sets you up. It has cheat sheets, every single one. So you can print them out if you want, or you can be like me and just save them in a folder on your computer. And every time you're like, oh yeah, what needle do I need for velvet? And
Oh,
you look back to it. It also goes over cutting and pressing, which is something I can't do in in-person classes. It's just the time and the amount of things you need to be able to teach that. So I definitely have those added on. And then for introduction to embellishments, it covers everything from like threading a needle, which I'm sure most people like that watch our channels know how to do, but I wanted to make it accessible to the brand new person never doing this before. But it goes from threading a needle all the way to different ways of applying sequins, beads, rhinestones, trim, blanket stitch, so that you can build up texture, like a lot of really cool things that can help basically take just a basic costume and elevate it a little bit more. If you like sparkle like me, that class is for you. And both of those classes are $10.
wow, that's so affordable. All right, well, that's awesome, Casey. I'm super excited about them. I've already bought the timbre class and I took a look at it and it looks awesome. And now I'm gonna go get those other two. I
Yeah.
also wanted to tell everyone that I will have Casey's information down below. Casey has a website. Casey has an Instagram account that's pretty awesome. Casey has a YouTube channel that's pretty awesome. Like if you want to see her actually doing like timbre in action, like on things she's going to wear, you can watch her like literally you can just watch her do it for hours if you feel like it. So like her channel's awesome and I would recommend that you subscribe to her. So I will give all of her information down below. Casey also has a book. Do you want to
Oh,
pitch your
yeah.
book?
My book, Cosplay Foundations. So fun thing, I don't think I've announced this yet, but it sold out. So the print number 2 will be here in a week.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, so this is the first print. There's a couple things that they changed in it, just like literally grammatical stuff, but still, like those are things that are important. But yeah, this is my book, Cosplay Foundations. It'll help you learn how to do corsets, hoop skirts, bodysuits. So if you ever wanted to make like a bodysuit and then put armor on top of it,
Mhm.
uh, there's 11 projects in it. It's great. So
It's a
yeah.
really great book. I own it. I think it's a fab book. It's a great addition to my library and highly recommend that. So I'll link that down below for you guys also. Hello, this is a Brittany.
Hello.
Hello and
A
welcome
wild Brittany appears.
you sound like hello and welcome to Movie Phone. If you're old enough to know what that is, leave me a comment down below.
I don't know what that is.
They used to have like a dial-up like what is playing in my area, like before we had the internet, and it was called Movie Phone, and the guy's voice was like, "Hello and welcome to Movie Phone. Dial 1 for showtime."
That's definitely what I sound like.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Noelle's Costuming Drama channel. She's working on hand sewing.
I am.
Take it, Noelle.
I didn't even bitch about it, guys. Like, I was pretty good about it last night.
We had so much fun. I made my chainmail. You did your hand sewing.
She did make chainmail. We watched Lord of the Rings 1, Fellowship of the Ring extended version, which is 3 hours and 48 minutes. 3 hours and 48 minutes, peeps. It's so many minutes. And we're gonna go in for 2 towers, extended edition now. Okay, so let me show you what I did. Okay, so I have a back center seam, and it comes to here, and then also here, and this was indeed felled down. I did sew this next side panel on the side, but these two haven't gone together yet. They will today. I need to go ahead and iron this and fell it, and then I can attach these. I did the mistake of, oh, I'm just downstairs sewing, so I can do this seam and that seam, and then I'll come back and fell this one. No, because of this situation, it does make it harder. So I do suggest that you do it in the order that they actually suggest you sew this. So what I'm going to do today is go ahead and iron and trim this down, and then fell it, and then sew these two guys together on both sides. And then I'll come back and talk to you, because then we're going to attach it to the lining. That's where all that stuff starts. I think there's a whole bunch of basting that happens. But for right now, while I'm watching the 2 towers, I will just be doing this little bits of work. Hello. It's a few days later. My friend has gone home. We watched all 3 extended versions of Lord of the Rings. By the end of it, I did not care if that ring went in that mountain or not. I was just like, please let this be over. And even when that ring went in the mountain, it was not over. There's only so much Lord of the Rings a girl can take in one sitting. 3 extended versions in 3 days was a lot. We did one a day, to be fair, and we did watch other stuff, like, kind of in between or whatever, but, like, we did pause a lot to have side conversations, so it really did take, like, you know, those are like 4 hours. It would take like 6 for us to get through one. Anyway, I essentially stopped working on this in the middle of that, because I realized that I was aspirationally sewing this. I don't know if that makes sense. I was sewing to the directions I wanted there to be and not to the directions that were there. I didn't like mark the pleats. I was like, oh, I can wing the pleats. It's fine. I'll just sew it together and then pleat it up afterward. No, you know, like I tried doing that and it became a mess, and I was like, I don't know what this is. I think I should just like make this thing properly. So I put it down. So we are back. We are ready to follow actual directions. So that's what I'm gonna do. I also just like, I want this jacket to be like romantically easy to sew, or just like some aesthetic, beautiful hand stitching shots of me in some dark academia corner. You know that's not what's gonna happen. You know that. So like, and I know that. Why am I trying to do this thing that is not the reality of what's happening? So I'm gonna follow the directions. So basically, now is the time when I have to do some marking of some pleats, first of all, and second of all, I have to attach it to the lining. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, just basting it right down to the lining, because the center back is actually weirdly free from the lining while you're doing this. Like the center back seam, you baste it down, but it's not like sewn to the lining. The first stitches that go in that seal the lining to the actual jacket is on the first side panel. So here's the center back seam, and I will baste this onto the lining. The first actual thing that gets attached to the lining, like permanently, like prick stitched to the lining, is this piece when it flops over this piece. So essentially what I need to do is go ahead and tuck that under, like iron it down, and then I can take this guy, because you want it, the seam allowance to be on the inside. I can take this guy, make the seam allowance happen at 5/8, like tuck it under, and then I place it along the edge of this, and then I prick stitch it down. And it's all just like prick stitch, but essentially like top stitch down from here on out, the whole jacket. I did go look at my Angelica jacket that I've already made in my closet, and man, like I don't hate past me. I was like, oh, this is very nicely stitched together. Like my prick stitches are beautiful. The whole thing like lays flat. It looks really great. I'm like, wow, I did a really good job on this. And I was like, fairly hard on myself when I was making it, being like, oh, this is a sloppy job, blah, 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 my stitches aren't right. Now I look at it and I'm like, damn, that looks really good. So like, good. I am proud of past Noelle. Past Noelle exceeded current Noelle's expectations of what current Noelle is going to do with this particular jacket. So I'm very happy about that. Okay, I have a much better grip on what's going on now. I have installed the pleats on the back piece, which is, you can see the edge of it right here, and this is the piece that is going to attach to it momentarily. It will come up, but on the outside. I have done the pleats that I'm supposed to have done. I pressed under the neck edge, and I have pinned this together. I'm now going to baste down the center and then flip it over so I can see, you know, where this line is, go all the way up the sides, around the edge and back down. So this is nice and basted together. Okay, we have everything basted on nicely and it is ready to go. I made sure there was not bubbles or anything like that. Okay, the next pro tip I have is, I don't know if you can see, but here I've actually just drawn in the 5/8 inch line with these ironable Frixion pens. I've also put it, like there's one there, there's one there. Put it on the other edge, because you need to fold this over and then pin it down to it, so then you can prick stitch it together. So I just want to know where that line should be. At some point, you kind of have to like scoot these around a little bit to like make it fit right. Sometimes it fits perfectly, but I don't use these as law, I use them as general guidelines. So here's a little example. In order to get like this notch and this notch and this notch to line up with what was underneath it, and for this seam to be the exact same as this one, which I know keeps this lined well if I make sure that these edges are actually lined up really well. You can see that this is slightly off, and it's definitely veering off. Like this is the 5/8 mark, and you can see how far, that's like half of that again had to be sacrificed, and that's okay. It's totally fine. Like it meets back up, you know, somewhere around here. It's okay, because you want to make sure like it's staying generally lined up more than the exact seam allowance is being obeyed. And it could be something I cut weird, it could be how I laid this on here weird. There's a million reasons this could be, but this is just like a feel thing. I am prioritizing making sure the outside edge is looking like it should, because if I mess this up and I pull it in and I push this in and this is off, all it's going to do is pull everything after it off forever. So I don't want to do that. I want to kind of keep things relatively on target if I can. So this is how I get this done. Then I'm going to go prick stitch this, like probably sitting in front of the TV. I am going to do the other one first also though, so that I can just power through two of them at once. I think I am sewing this with white thread, even though this is all the colors. You have to pick one, right? So that's what I'm choosing. Okay, it's the next morning. We have the back completely done. So the next step is to smooth this guy out and this guy, and then go ahead and baste this line. And essentially that's what we're going to do along this. I think there's only one or two more of these big panels, and then we go to the front section and there's a skirt. Anyway, so I'm going to just keep plowing along with this, which is very fun, and get this jacket covered in its outer fabric. Okay, we do have two more sides on. These are completely on. I need to baste them down on the top and outside edge. This is a part that I remember from last time that I didn't really understand. So you don't want this edge to be parallel with this turned up 5/8 inch edge, right? So because you have a good seam allowance there. So this is the proper orientation of this piece, but as you can see, if I were to do that and have the top aligned correctly, you have this piece that is like got this weird bump in it. And it's kind of fine because you can kind of like amortize that out over a bunch, and then the next piece is going to go in like right here, and it's going to cover a lot more of this than 5/8 of an inch. So it's kind of fine, but it happened last time. It's probably me. It's happening on both sides for sure. Like there's a big old bubble here too. And I'm like, why isn't this piece just like cut the right shape? You know, like what am I doing that the maker of this pattern is not doing, right? Like, I don't understand where I went wrong and why I would have this like extra bit here. So it doesn't matter. It's gonna get covered, so it's fine. I'm not stressed out about it, but I am like, why? I'm starting to get to the point where I do that, where I go, I wonder why. What did I do wrong? Slash, what did, maybe they did something wrong, but probably I did something wrong. But like, either way, what was that thing? All right, so since last we spoke, I have attached this like skirt piece, which is like literally, it attaches right here. Just another piece that is literally the skirt. And now I have marked all the pleat marks on here so I can pleat this up. I have also hemmed the first, they're like, do 5 inches, and I'm like, I'm just gonna do until it curves. Because I mean, you could do the whole thing now if you wanted to, really. There's no reason not to. I mean, it's a good sitting in bed. I'm watching House of the Dragon again because I just want to I really want to watch Game of Thrones all the way through again, so I might be doing that soon. I am now going to form all of these knife pleats that need to be formed, and then they all need to face towards the back, so if I'm on the reverse side, they will face towards the front, which is what they are indeed going to do, and pin those down and then sew them onto the bodice part of the lining, and then they will get covered by the front pieces. So that's what's happening right now. And here's what this looks like, all plated down and attached to the 5/8 mark on the lining. I'm just going to run a basting stitch over that. Actually, I'll probably run a little bit tighter than a basting stitch on here. I just want to make sure that's firmly held. It will be held by other pieces coming up over this that I do have to prick stitch on. So I'm not too worried about it, but give it a little extra support just in case it gets caught on something. I had a dress that I made one time, and this right here, you kind of want to bar tack this also. This guy got caught on a when I was in France on a bus handle, like the seat handle on a bus, and it totally tore this whole thing out. So just like to make sure this section is extra tight. Alrighty, now we're going to do straps. So I have gone ahead and folded the seam allowance in on the straps and ironed that down. And then you want to put the straps with the folded side so that it would be in the middle of a sandwich if you put the outside of the strap on top of it. So basically, see how all of this is like clean, because this is the lining. If you flip this up, it will be clean also. These seam allowances will not be faced towards your body, they will be in the sandwich. So you put that on like that, with the straight part on your neck and the round part making your arm's eye, which makes sense. So I draw lines with my handy Frixion pen so that I know exactly where the pins go. And what we're going to do now is set the straps. So I'm going to put these on here, and then I'm going to go ahead and switch into my stays so that we can see how this is going to go. I already know that there's certain things that are going to happen that I'm going to need to take care of, and this is going to be wrong. It's fine. I just want to see. Another really quick pro tip here is that when I'm putting these pins in, I weave them in and out of the fabric many times, but I make sure the point goes out, like outside, so like the point, you probably can't see it, but it's right here, is not on the inside where it could scratch me, for example. I do like the way that this is fitting in here. I'm feeling like this is good over some stays. Like I have, you know, good coverage here, but not too much coverage here, which is good. I might even tuck this down a little bit. We're not sure yet. It's very modest. That's fine. Okay, so when I am doing straps, there was like a small battle. Don't worry. This is really hard to do by yourself. So like if you try to do this by yourself and you're getting frustrated, dude, you're doing it. You're killing it. Just the fact that you're even trying to do this by yourself is great, because like it's hard. It's real hard. What I'm trying to do when I do this is get this line, which is a straight line, this is the curved line, to just like kind of flow right in here, right? So that this line makes a nice scoop, because your neckline is important. So that's where I'm trying to aim for. I'm also trying to make sure it fits like snugly over my shoulder, but not too tight. You will note, I don't know why this always happens, but there is, like, on the picture it shows this thing lining up exactly with like whatever's supposed to be here to meet it. No. This is like ridiculously too long. Some of this is seam allowance, but there's still probably like that much more, like definitely at least a 1/2 inch more. So I don't know what happens there, but hopefully the sleeve can kind of like take that in. I do always have a problem right here where with this pattern, like where I don't seem to have enough fabric, this spot. So, but this is the strap pattern and this is the base pattern. So I don't understand really what's happening at all. Cool. Okay, so the thing I thought would happen is happening, but only a little bit. You guys can see, like, how do I point at this? You guys can see, like, back there how that's gaping just a little bit right at the seam allowance. That happens with me all the time too. I don't know why. I don't need as much room in the back as every pattern seems to think I'm gonna need. So probably what I will do is just bring that seam down a little bit, like just on that one side, like I'll angle it more, which is what I normally end up doing. On this side it's also happening, but maybe a little bit less. It's that area right there. It's still happening, but it's not as bad, so I'm not worried about it. Make sure to always like pull down and check. See, it's like actually fitting pretty good right there, so I'm not that worried about that one. If I pull this one down, it's also fitting significantly better. I still might angle it a little bit just to take care of it, but it's not so bad. So that's actually kind of surprising to me. Other than that, my back does look good. It's not gaping badly, like nothing bad's happening. The fit in my waist is really good. All the seams look good. So I usually have a little bit of gaping here. Yeah, you can kind of see it when I reach up. It happens, but I think that happens to everyone. It's not too bad. I'm not too worried about it, so I'm not gonna fuss about it too much. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and attach these straps. Things will just work out, don't worry. It's 18th century sewing. It's kind of random, so it'll be okay. If I have to put a patch in and that one spot in the front, I will. We'll see how the sleeves do. It's always a fun time trying to fit yourself when you're doing it on your own. So I feel like I got a pretty good fit here. So I'm just gonna open the front here to let myself out and then go sew this down. So this is what that adjustment looks like. Instead of, this was the original line up here, and I'm just taking a little bit more of a bite, but only on the armpit edge because this edge was fitting just fine. Okay, a discovery has been made on this. I was talking to my Patreon peeps on the Zooms, and we noted, because I was complaining about, it's probably more evident on this side, like how much this strap does not fit on this. Like there's this much space that it is not fitting onto, like it's just too thin. And somebody on the Zoom said, well, does it size up with the sizing up of the jacket? And I looked at this piece and the answer is no. No, it does not size up. So they're like, well, you can cut a new piece and size it up. This one is already sewn in. This one was just pinned on, so what I actually did was just make the seam allowance less because I don't need that much seam allowance, like that's ridiculous. So I took it from 5/8 to like whatever this is, like 1/4, 3/8, something like that. And pinned it, and I just sort of like ooched it on, and it's much better. There's a 5/8 allowance here for the sleeve, so that makes sense. So yeah, I think I have to figure out how to do that on a previously sewn piece here. So what I think I'm gonna do is like just seam rip like half of it and open this up and then pin it down. And then as soon as that's pinned down, I can seam rip the other half and ooch it over, which should work really well. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that and then reattach these sleeves. Okay, so I happen to be hanging out in my stays and a skirt, which happens to go very well with this dress. Actually, I think this might be one I get my picture photographed in. So I decided to just fit the front here and make sure everything's cool, and it does fit just well. I also tucked down the front of this because this thing comes up to like here, which is ridiculous. So I went ahead and tucked that down. You can see the lining still up. So I will go ahead and like kind of even this out a little bit and then stitch these things together so that they form one single piece, which will be much better. Then I really just have to attach the straps here, which are fitting really well already, and hem this guy, and I am all done, which is very exciting. Oh, no, that's not true. I also have to put on sleeves. Why can't 18th century gowns ever just not have sleeves? Like, why can't just all things not have sleeves? That would be better. Okay, so I have the sleeves to do, but honestly, not that bad in the grand scheme of things. Almost done. Okay, so this is all trimmed out because there was like a huge hunk that went like that in there. So I pressed it and then trimmed that out, and then I've lined this all up so the edge of the lining is just inside of the edge of the outside, and then I'm gonna go essentially like slip stitch this all in, slip stitch it, I don't know. Is there really that much of a difference, guys? Someone's gonna come in the comments and yell at me. Of course there is. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna go sit on my bed and like get these all done so that I'm ready for sleeves. So she's all sewn, and you can see that you stitch just inside. If you hear that noise, that's my cat. Scott, do you want to be in the vlog? Hi, Scott. Scott, why are you blurry? You black little void. I love you. You want to come in? Yeah, come on in. Oh no? Okay. We have these holes in our walls that the person before us made. And this one just goes into a little box that's inside my husband's closet where my cats can hang out. The one downstairs is in the bathroom. And it allows you to put a box in the bathroom. Okay, back to regularly scheduled content. So you fold the lining down so it just is just a scotch, and I think that's a technical term, underneath, like, so that they're not exactly the same width, I guess. Like, this is the width. This would be length up here, so I don't know. Anyway, you want to have it, like, hidden just a little bit so that if something came up, you wouldn't necessarily see it. I also did the entire hem while I was there because apparently I was in a felling mood and decided to just fell my little soul out, so that's already done. Okay, so we can cross off this guy and this one, and I did this also while I was there. Okay, so we have to cut out our sleeves, we have to sew the sleeves and then attach them, and then we have to attach the straps, and then we are done. So let's try to power through this as quickly as possible. I have got these in and set up pretty well. 3 little tucks on the top here. I have tried this on. It looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. My mannequin has this weird thing where her shoulders are significantly wider than mine are. So like my shoulder point is like right there, which I'm just like, wow. So I think I have to figure out if like the back on these patterns is too wide for me in general because I need my shoulder to be in more or what. Kind of unsure about that. For the purposes of this guy, gonna carry forth. I think it's gonna look fine. Not concerned about it at all. So I'm gonna hand baste and then stitch these in. Okay, we have sleeves on. This is a fact. Now I just need to put the strap on to both sides. This side is weird. Like, I don't know. Something happened right here that's making this pull strange. So I gotta investigate what's happening and like possibly like release something from its grasp or decide to just deal with it but cover it up somehow. So like I gotta look at this and figure it out, but I'm gonna lay in the straps right now. Okay, shoulder tops are on. They look really good. I'm very happy with them. Happy with everything about this so far. So I'm gonna pop this guy on and put a little skirt on so you can see what it looks like, get a little preview. I'm hopefully gonna do a shoot with Lynn for her hat for her at some point, so I'll show you those pictures on Instagram or here or something whenever I possibly can, but it would be nice to give you a little preview. Okay, I actually made all of these skirts to go with that jacket because the color scheme works with all of these colors. And I also have this pink one, so I think I might start with this pink one today. This one I think Kate of Willoughby and Rose made, so I think I'm going to do that one. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. As always, leave me comments. Let me know what you guys are up to, what you're doing, what you're watching, what you're listening to, what you're working on, what you're reading, all that kind of jazz. If you're new here, go down below and let me know who you are and like how you got here and what you're into and all that stuff. I like meeting new people, so that's fun. And every time I get comments from new people, I'm just like, hey, welcome! The comment section is a nice and sweet place, so you can go hang out there too if you'd like. I'm very excited to have this project done after being like in the works for 9 or 10 months, just like a ridiculously long time. Like, oh, that was so long. I'm very happy to have it done. So yeah, leave me comments, leave me thumbs ups, subscribe if you haven't, ring the bell if you want to, and I'll see you guys next time with another video. Bye guys!